celebrating and showcasing some of the most amazing people around the world who are doing incredible things to make the world a better place. This is CUTV News. I'm your host, Jim Masters. Today, CUTV News spotlights Steve Chiama. Steve is a certified business coach and founder of Action Coach of Western Fairfax in Fairfax, Virginia. Action Coach provides advice, coaching, and mentoring services to small and medium-sized businesses. Steve Chiama has a passion for helping businesses grow and become profitable so the business owner can enjoy the lifestyle they deserve. To tell us more about Action Coach, Steve Chiama joins me today in the CUTV News studio. Steve, thank you so much for joining us here at CUTV News.
Thank you very much for having me, Jim. I appreciate it very much.
We've got a lot to talk about, a lot of ground to cover. I wanted to ask first, you know, there are thousands of business owners out there today who are running a business, and they seem to be getting by. That could be good, that could be bad, but why would you say, first off, a business owner would even need the services of a coach?
That's a good question. The issue is, do they want to stay where they're at? Do they want to continue to do what they're doing? Or do they really want to move on and accomplish more, build more of a business, build more of a lifestyle? And if they're stuck, or if they're not quite sure what steps to take from this point forward, then coaching is a phenomenal tool to break through, to find those things that they're stuck in, with an outsider's perspective, to sit down and just accept that there's a place that they can go forward step by step in small baby steps and get to the place that they're really trying to achieve. Nothing's instant in this life, and we talk about this a lot, is the overnight wonders, but really nothing's instant in this world, so there must be a step-by-step process. Coaching enables a person to step out of their day-to-day thoughts and accept some outside questions that allow them to think through things differently. That helps them break through. And this opens up a door to breaking through those little barriers one at a time, where all of a sudden they are building a ladder and climbing a ladder to the next step, the next step, the next step, and the next step.
A lot of times businesses are, quote unquote, white knuckling it. They are really just going from dollar to dollar and trying to stretch it out as much as possible. Yeah. And some of them can almost be, operating by flying on the seat of their pants, which can get very nerve-wracking. But also at the same time, it can become very limiting because they could be scared to take a risk or to try anything new, especially when it comes to marketing and promoting themselves. So how can you take somebody who is just going from almost even a paycheck to paycheck scenario and grow from there?
Yeah, that's a important point for an awful lot of people. The first step really is understanding that you have to measure the results that you get from the actions you take. And whatever action you're taking, whatever marketing campaign you're doing, whatever things you're operating, what's the result you're getting in a measurable sense, and how does it track? So this kind of an ad produces this kind of a lead generation result, and that's good. But then, how do I make a decision to change it and then get a better result or not? And some results we get are not better, they're actually worse. But that gives you knowledge, that gives you information. And treating this process like a laboratory, a scientific experiment, one step at a time. One of the stories I like to remind people of is the old story of Thomas Edison and the light bulb. How many times did it take him to invent that light bulb? And I've heard all kinds of numbers, 1,000 to 15,000. I think the best number, the best explanation of that I heard was in Wikipedia, which was 14,000, and it was broken down into 6 different technologies, and the number of, in round numbers, the numbers of experiments they did in each of those technologies. And then at the end, somebody had the audacity to ask him the question, how did it feel to fail that many times? And the classic answer, I didn't fail 15,000 times. I found 15,000 ways it wasn't going to work. And that's really the mindset that you've got to go into this. It's not that advertising doesn't work, it's that ad didn't work. Now, what are the principles that make an ad work? Here's where the reading books comes in. What's the principles that make an ad work? And then how do we convert those principles into something that'll work for you?
Tell us about some of the success stories. I'm sure you have some wonderful stories that come to mind where this is the point where they started and this is where they've ended up and where they're headed.
Yeah. There was a business about 2 years ago in the trades, home improvement on the outside. And this guy was trying to build an empire kind of business. He had an aspiration to make a really great business. He wanted financially to be able to take care of his family in a great way, but he didn't want to just do it for the money. He was also interested in being a really good provider in the community as well. He had actually done really well. He had been a salesman for a similar kind of company previously, had gotten good at sales. He had a couple of people in his operation and was doing okay from a revenue point of view, but not okay from how much money he was personally able to take home from that business. It took us about 12 to 14 months in his particular case. We increased his revenue by about 50 to 60%.
It's incredible.
They went from a case where he was taking very little home to his family. They were living predominantly on his wife's job. This past summer, she was able to take the summer off to be with the kids, that they could do some stuff, because now he is doing phenomenally well. He is on track to finish this year more than double of what he had been when I first started working with him. So it's just been a phenomenal, and as a person, he has grown phenomenally. He is presenting himself in a very professional kind of way, and other business owners around him are shocked by the transition they've seen in him as a person.
Confidence.
Confidence, understands his business model, knows exactly what he's doing and exactly why he's doing it. And I think that's the most important thing. He knows why he's doing it.
I think, too, people, there's a magnetism, there's an attraction to that. When people are very passionate about and they're very enthusiastic about something, other people are attracted to that, which is very good in business when you're attracting people to you just because of your own enthusiasm that you're sharing with the world.
Yes.
I've always heard, even in sports, if you're going to play somebody, say, for example, in tennis, that it's always good to play somebody either at least at your level or better, because you'll learn from them. Same thing in business. Have the people around you who are very successful, who are mentor possibilities, things of that nature, as opposed to the opposite side of things.
Yes, there are actually some things that I do with my clients where I do group workshops. I do group planning workshops, all-day planning workshops once a quarter. And my purpose is to bring my clients in, and ostensibly the purpose is to do a plan for the next 3 months. However, what's actually happening in there, in addition to that, we actually do get a plan, but also as people are conversing across the table, comparing stories, ideas, brainstorming is happening, and relationships are building so that friends can be built around the table, and relationships that help each other grow. So it's a little bit of bootstrapping, but it acts a little bit like a mastermind group to try to raise the general level of expectations to something just a little bit higher than what they walked in with.
Does coaching involve risk? You know, at the very least, obviously, it costs money, but it's an investment, isn't it?
Yes.
It's a worthwhile investment that pays off in residual ways, dividends for years to come.
Yes, there is risk. Certainly you're going to put money in, maybe get nothing out. There's always that fear, perpetually. The answer to the question is you will get out of it what you put into it emotionally. So yes, there is a cost for the time to accomplish that.
But look at it as an investment, right?
It's an investment into your future. It's a guided path to a result that you can achieve if you're willing to look outside of the ways you've been doing things into the past. Investment is a very good word, although I've heard some people fear the word investment. I know some people that do that all the time. However, you can't move forward without investing something. How'd you learn to ride a bicycle?
Yeah.
Did you learn to ride a bicycle just magically all at one time? Or did you have to get on and fall down a few times?
Invest the time in it,
You had to put the time into it.
Learn piano, learn guitar, learn a language.
Every one of them.
To become skilled at anything you do.
Yes, to get through high school.
Investing in people and a relationship.
Yes.
I mean, you are constantly investing in, things around you.
Yeah.
So when you really think about it, somebody may say, gee, okay, you know, I already have a schedule that is straight out. I'm very, very busy. Is there a lot of extra work involved from the point of the business or the business owner to be coached?
I tell people, plan on 5 hours of work a week, plus the coaching session, whatever that takes. That feels insurmountable to some people. And this is where the conversation comes up with how are you using your time right now anyway? How many of the things are you doing that you shouldn't be doing anyway? And how do we take a look at carving those out of your schedule and finding other ways to, well, first of all, which ones need to be done at all?
Right.
How much procrastination is in that schedule, really?
And we can all admit to that from time to time. Absolutely.
Absolutely, even me.
Yeah. Well, sometimes, like I mentioned too, even with me, sometimes I'll procrastinate only because when I know I'm going to invest in it, it's going to be my all, it's going to be 110%, so I have to make sure all the moons are lined up and everything is almost perfect to make that investment because I know I'm going to dig in deep and I'm going to stick with it the whole time. That can be good or bad.
Yes, it can be good or bad. Yeah, this is really about, is it important enough to get that result? So you are where you are. You think you know where you want to go. How important is that? If it's important enough, you will find a way to carve the time out. You will find a way to budget the money that it takes. And I can help a person. On the money side, we can find a program that can fit most budgets of money.
Right.
But you still have to invest the time into learning how to do things different and actually starting to do things different. In a little bit of time, and it depends on where the business owner is starting from as to how much time that is, but in a little bit of time, you're going to find that you have the time all of a sudden.
Right. So overall, if somebody is watching this segment right now, Steve, and they are really seriously considering the support of a business coach, an advisor with the level of expertise as yourself from Action Coach of Western Fairfax, what should be the next step? What do they need to do? What do they need to say to themselves to make that next step, to connect with somebody like you?
Need to call. Need to call, start a conversation. Start a conversation about goals. Start a conversation about what's holding me back from getting those goals. Part of that conversation starts with the inside of them, but part of that conversation is calling myself up or somebody like me up and say, I'm not quite sure where to go from here. Can we sit down and just talk? I'm quite happy to sit down and chat with somebody and just explore what this could look like, where they're at, where they've been going, what their goals are, where they want to get to. And it really starts with getting outside of their own head, get outside of their own thoughts, and learn where there are more opportunities than what they've been looking at so far.
Well, Steve, this was a real honor and pleasure to have you with us. You're a wealth of resource and information. People can go to the website, of course, which we'll mention in just a moment, filled with reviews, too, of your work, ways you can connect with Steve as well. It's been a pleasure, and we wish you continued success with Action Coach.
Thank you very much, Jim. I greatly appreciate the opportunity. It's been a lot of fun for me as well, and I'm just stopping to think. Sometimes for me, it's a good thing to stop and think as well.
That's right. That's right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. To learn more about Action Coach Business Coaching and Steve Chiama and how they can help you and your business, visit this website, actioncoach.com/Steve Chiama. I'm Jim Masters, CUTV News.